Hi, everyone, and welcome to the section where we talk to the filmmakers who are part of the final selection for Stafford Film Festival. Today, I'm with Arniko Singh. So, Arniko, could you start with giving me the title of your film and a little bit about yourself? And then, if you could, can you tell me about the inspiration behind your film and why you chose experimental to be the path you wanted to go down?
Sure. All right. Hello, Michael, and everybody that's watching. Thank you for this opportunity. It's a great honor to be, um, nominated in your esteemed film festival. So very excited about that. Yes. So Dakini, the inspiration for me was it's a Nepali movie, by the way. It's in language Nepali. We shot it in Nepal, and I'm from Nepal. Live in the United States, and every year I go to Nepal. So the folklore. Every place, every local native place has its own folklore, and I I'm being kind of like a little nosy American. I would always go there and ask, "Hey, are there any folklores or any stories about these places?" I'd go to certain places in Nepal, and at some point in time, somebody had told me about this story about Dakini. It's a mythical slash in form of Hinduism that they exist, and that this is what they do, and I was really excited, and at the same time a little fearful of hearing that story. I was like, oh, that well, if this is somehow, if it's true, then I could be, it could happen to me as well. But anyways, that's where the inspiration, the story came from, and then now obviously this, I've always loved movies, and the reason I made it in the way it is black and white with the hints of color, hence the experimental aspect of it. If you watch the movie, I wanted to give sort of like a claustrophobic look to the movie, and I think black and white has this. There's an aura about black and white. Like there are a lot of things that I think you can say without saying it. I believe in black and white, and it gives you that feeling of especially nostalgia, right? And also, if you're telling a story about that could be from a different part of the world, if you do it black and white without any time, any restraints. So that's why I chose this black and white with a little bit of color, and color has significance. I mean, we can get into that a little bit more detail, but that's why I chose it. Yeah.
What was the central message that you were conveying and the idea you wanted the audience to walk away with?
Which is actually, I would say it's a universal message, and it's just true within terms of darkness. What seems to be good is not necessarily good at times, and what seems to be evil is not necessarily evil. Evil can disguise itself as good, and good can disguise itself like evil. Like when we say that, oh, this person is a wolf in a sheep's clothing, right? So that's kind of the message: is hey, don't trust what's in front of you. Like not every time. Like it could be the person is acting as a good person could be evil, and a person that is it's like you think is evil. Oh man, it's a bad guy. It's actually a good guy. It's the way it is.
I think it is a very universal film, a very universal
Message.
film. Yeah, and it's conveyed really, really nicely in your film. So, as a first-time filmmaker, what was challenging? What was the challenging aspect of bringing your vision to life, and how did you overcome this?
Yeah, I mean, first time filmmaker. So I'd say, obviously, it's very, it's easy to dream like, yeah, I'm gonna make my movie, but then actually making it is a little challenging, and there was a lot of challenging aspects to it. Well, one of them being, I'd say, definitely, I'd say that not having a formal education on filmmaking. I wouldn't say that really hindered a lot, but it really did. Um, it did really come into in terms of I didn't have any experience. The first time I ever saw an actual camera was the first day of the shoot, and I was like, "Oh, this is what it looks like, huh?" And it kind of gave my cinematographer a little bit of because everybody was professional. They have done this, like they were actually professional in Nepal, and I'm the only person that has never done this. So they were like, "Wait, you've never seen a camera?" I'm like, "No, never." So, but the challenges I would say is like knowing, definitely hiring the team. I would say there's a few things that are done a little different, and then my own experience. I think I went a little bit too ambitious at times because hey, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do this. You know how everybody is. Like my first movie, I want to throw everything at it. I mean, I think we should keep it as simple as possible. I would say that that would have been a little bit, I would have changed that a little bit. Other than that, I mean, logistically, I mean, I was still learning, so there were a few things that um so this was shot in Nepal, and it was peak, which is Himalayas, is peak of winter. It was almost negative 14 degrees, 15 degrees when we were shooting it. So it was so cold where we had to, and you know, you see in the movie where the male actors are usually bare chested most of the time, right? So there was a lot of things where we'd had to, you know, sometimes the things would freeze, and we would have to like, hey, let's, you know, let's heat it up, let's warm a little bit before we actually take another shot. So those little things, but yeah.
How was it communicating with the crew? If it's the first time you've ever seen a camera in your first ever production, how did
Right.
you find communicating with people like the cinematographer who works very visually and with the camera? How did that communication work?
So I had the concept for about 3 years for this movie, and then you know I had a very that's a very good question. I had a very strong pre-production. Let's just say that. You know, I had talked to the cinematographer. We sat down and we were communicating a lot. Hey, this is what I want. This is what we should do. And then it's also helped because you know I'm from also Nepal, so we were communicating in the same language. And um, I sent the script to everybody first, and I said, "Hey, do you like it? We have to be." I always told every single person that we were working, like, "Hey, we have to be on the same page. You have to understand my vision." And he was very excited about the movie. Then I became, you know, also like, "Okay, we're on the same page." So actually, I would say being on the same page in terms of like my vision, he understood. That's what it helped.
Being an experimental film, often experimental films, they're pushing boundaries, breaking traditional storytelling approaches and narratives. With you not coming from a film and television background and pushing into experimental film, do you feel you challenged these boundaries, or do you think you were just unaware of them and were able to cross them without knowing it?
No, no, no. I definitely knew I was challenging a few things because even certain crew member told me, it was like, hey, being a first movie, like I told you, like, you know, you've been a little ambitious, don't you think? You know, like black and white and then hint of color, and then you have VFX in it, and then you have do this, you do that. Like, and I said, the way I had visualized the story, that's what I wanted. So one of the things was like, hey, look, I know it seems a little bit more asking at that time, but you know, this is what the story I think in my head demands. So in order to justify it, we have to do it a certain way. So yeah, I mean, now that you know, I think of it, yes, was it a little bit more. Um, was I biting more than I can chew? Maybe, but you know what? That was the beauty of it. I'll tell you one thing. Not having the formal education now with Dakini, even if anything, I'm fully satisfied with the movie. You know why? Is because it has taught me everything about filmmaking, from editing to obviously directing to every aspect of. I was involved in every aspect of filmmaking. So this was my film school. Let's just say that. That's the satisfaction I get.
Cool.
You know, and obviously everything else, like you know, being nominated in your Steam Film Festival and stuff. Those are extra. Those are like a dessert. But I'm very happy.
Cool. Cool. It's
Yeah.
great to hear. They
Yeah.
always say like making is the best teacher. So yeah.
Absolutely. You know, and I learned a lot. I'll tell you what. I mean, I the day we finished it, I was very content, and I was just happy. And everybody's like, "Hey," and I know I had this daunting task of going post production because it was a little challenging. Also, is because so movie was shot in Nepal. 95% of the crew was in Nepal, but I live in the United States. So we had to do this communication where I'm not there physically. So, and there's a 13-hour time difference. So I had to wake up 2 in the morning and then do all that stuff. That was also challenging, but there was a lot of challenging things. But I was happy. Why? I was happy because I was like, look, I'm learning. I finished the movie. Let's just get this, you know, I'm enjoying every moment of it. So, um, but yeah, that was also, by the way, a challenging factor was having the crew in Nepal. I mean, obviously, as a director, you want to sit close to the editor and like, hey, let's go. Now, I didn't have that luxury. We were doing from other side of the world. Um, so yeah, but it was good. I'm happy.
Cool. Well, now Dakini's finished.
Mhm.
What's next? Do you feel like your storytelling style is evolving into future projects?
Sure.
What-
I am actually writing a script right now that I would like to be hopefully made in the United States. And that's the same thing. It's a little bit of experimental as well, but a little bit more on the commercial side. I want to. This is a hobby for me. You know, and I'm doing this because I feel like, hey, look, I think I have cool stories that I want to tell, and hopefully people like it. So yes, there are a few things that I'm working on. Just one script as of right now, and then hopefully if I can get that made, that'd be great. That'll be a very, I think, good project if I can get made. But yeah.
Cool. Well, Arniko Kumar Singh, thank
Mhm.
you for your time. Thank you for your words, and thank you for your film. It's been a pleasure talking to you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. And thank you for this opportunity. And I was very excited. And hopefully you like the movie and enjoyed it. And that's enough for me at this point. So maybe in future, maybe I would like to win awards and do all that. But right now, just talking to you is the best thing, just itself.
Thanks. Nice.
Absolutely.